Rev up your engines!
Huge increases in car and gasoline prices are driving the U.S. inflation fears. Now, they always lie about it. They never want to tell you the truth about any kind of statistics. I remember when I was a kid and Richard Nixon was president, there was a big problem with high unemployment rate. So what did they do? They changed what unemployed mean. Instead of being people over 18 that don't have a job, it was people over 18 who are now collecting unemployment insurance. So once you weren't collecting unemployment insurance anymore, you weren't counted as the unemployed. Hey, your insurance runs out, you don't have a job, you're unemployed, right? But no, you don't count anymore because you're not collecting the unemployment insurance. They got scams for everything. What do they say? There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Yeah, you can prove anything you want if you want to change what the parameters are. We're obviously in an inflated situation now. Look at the prices of cars, gasoline, houses, you name it. Food at the grocery store. The other day I went to the grocery store, got 3 bags of grocery. It was $300-something bucks, and there wasn't even any meat in it. That's the amazing thing, Even when they figure this inflation stuff out now, I'm looking at some data. Excluding food and energy sector, we eat, our cars eat gasoline. If you can exclude that and you're not including that in inflation, it's a heck of a lot higher than these moronic guys that are supposed economic experts are talking about. They're just hiding everything. They call it an unexpected surge in inflation. What a bunch of baloney. Anybody can see that. Look, the government's deliberately keeping the interest rates low. You know why? Because the government operates on borrowed money, right? If the interest rate went up 1%, the government would go bankrupt. They can barely pay the interest on almost no interest loans that they're working on. If the interest rate went up 1%, the government would be bankrupt. They couldn't even pay the interest on the money they borrowed. So, of course, they're going to keep the interest rates low. But it makes no sense because that creates inflation, and eventually it can create hyperinflation. People are buying houses at low interest rate at outrageous prices, right? And so they just keep raising the prices because, your monthly payment is less, blah, blah, blah. Watch out for hyperinflation. It's on the rise here. I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up pretty soon. Actual hyperinflation, not just inflation. Just they're always behind the times, these economists, right? Instead of saying, we're having some inflation problems now. By the time they say that, that means hyperinflation's already in gear and it's here. And if you notice lately, of course, the price of gasoline is starting to go up again. Gasoline prices have increased 43% since last year. 43%. These guys' costs are pretty much the same. The oil's the oil. They refine it, but now it's 43% more, I guess they just figure out people have money. Let's see how much we can gouge them for, right? And here's what the baloney vice chair of the Fed said. The unwelcome surge in inflation this year, once these relative price adjustments are complete and bottlenecks have unclogged, will in the end prove to be largely transitory. They don't know what they're talking about. Talk about double speak. Read into what that guy's saying. He's the assistant head of the Feds, right? None of them come out and say, hey, look, the government's borrowing this money. They can barely pay any of it back, so we got to keep the interest rate at almost nothing. Otherwise, the government's bankrupt. They don't even talk about that. They talk about, this is just transitory. Well, you know what I say to this guy? Everything's transitory. As the famous economist Keynes said, in the long run, we're all dead. So we're all transitory too. But gas prices are up, everything prices are up, and I can't see these clowns that are in power doing anything about it. Bernard says, I got a Honda Accord, the airbag light is on. 06. I checked it with a scan tool. It says the sensor for the side airbag from the passenger side doesn't communicate with the airbag module. What should I do? Have your passenger buckle up. I don't trust airbags anyway. You trust the machine that it sits there for years, and that's what, an '06? So you're talking about 16-year-old car. All of a sudden it's got to explode at a millisecond when it's supposed to. I don't trust them anyways. The problem is that's not communicating. So there's either a wiring short, there's a problem in the airbag itself on the passenger side, or there's a problem with the airbag computer module. That stuff is so complex. It's not something you can mess around with yourself. If you're really worried about it, take it to a Honda mechanic that's an expert. If you can find anybody other than the dealer that'll work on airbags. A lot of guys won't touch airbags because of the liability. Something goes wrong, then they're going to sue the mechanic to make sure I don't touch those airbags. Involved in litigation. I can read the codes and tell people, here's what this is, but I'm not working on them. There's too much liability involved in that. If you really want to get it fixed, take it to a Honda dealer. They can figure it out, but it's going to cost you a small fortune probably. It's the problem with all these computer systems. When they start to break down, it costs a lot of money to fix them, and a lot of people won't touch them if it's a safety issue because too much liability. I know a lot of mechanics will not not touch airbags for that very same reason. Legally, you're not supposed to buy an airbag from a junkyard unless it's been tested and proven to be good. Well, who the heck tests and proves that they were good from a junkyard, right? It's your own car. You can take it out, put another airbag in, gambling with it. But a mechanic, he's not going to do that if he's smart because he could be sued. So, you get all this technology, you think it's great, it's fantastic. When it starts breaking down, you're going to wish you didn't have it in the first place. Seatbelts work great if you buckle them on. Holds you in place. Here's a question from down under. R3388 says, I got 2005 Honda CR-V automatic. The shop looked and said I failed my inspection. I had a bald tire and I have a leaking CV boot. What do you think the replacement cost should be for that? They're on $150 Australian. The CV boots are rubber, right? Eventually they crack and leak. They start clacking, they're worn. Now if it hasn't clacked yet, you can drive it a while until it clacks. Once it starts clacking, it means the metal's worn. Here in the States, we don't even bother with replacing those boots because it's stupid. You got to take it out, got to take the whole thing apart, then you got to put a new boot on and grease it and put it in. And since the grease did leak out, it's already partly worn. We replaced the whole axle assembly. They have Chinese ones that work perfectly fine. I've used hundreds of them. And sometimes for as little as $59, you get the entire axle, new boots, new joints, new everything. And you just replace the whole thing. It just bolts off and bolts on. It's an easy job somebody could do themselves in about an hour or less. You might think about doing that rather than just replacing a cracked boot, because if that boot's cracked, then the other boot's probably cracked. They could be worn inside. You might as well replace the entire axle with an aftermarket unit. That's what we do here in the States. We don't bother fixing them. Fixing them is stupid because they're old and they're worn. Even the metal parts are worn somewhat. Just replace the whole thing because they've gotten so inexpensive with the aftermarket. That's the best way to go. Oscar79 says, I got a 2015 Ford Taurus 3.5 with 53,000 miles. I like the car, but I know about that water pump. If it breaks, it can ruin the engine. Ford Tech decided to replace it and the timing chain at 60,000. Another one says, don't worry about it. That's low mileage. They generally don't break till they're well over 100,000 miles or even longer, but I would not spend all that money changing the chain, a pump. The guy's just trying to sell you a job. He's saying 60,000 miles. That's absurd. They always last a lot longer than that. The thing about it is, it's a water pump that's driven by chain, right? So if either the chain or the water pump's worn, it'll either trip a code because the time it'll be off and it'll give you codes for cam and crank sensor not correlated, or you start to hear rattling noise. You hear the pump rattling. Then you want to change it when you hear the noise. Yeah, definitely. Somebody sticks a stethoscope on there when it's idling and they said, it's rattling there where the water pump is. You better change it now. Go ahead and change it then. I would not do it. He's doing overkill. He's just trying to sell you a job. You ask him how much it's going to cost. I guarantee it's well over $1,000. You just want to throw that away. And if he's going to do the timing change, it might even be closer to $1,500, $1,800 he's going to charge you. That's too early. That's too early. He's trying to oversell. You get a code, you'll get noise. Then you can replace it ahead before it breaks. Toyota's trying to bring back the magic of the Chinook campers that it made decades ago with the Tacoma camper that they're going to have at the SEMA show. Now, back in the 1970s and 80s, Toyota teamed up with Chinook to make these cool little campers, and they're real collector's items now. They weren't that fast, but they're Toyota, they're reliable, and people camped all over the place in them. Some of them were daily drivers and habitation houses for people living in the things. They're calling it Chinook Dolphin style, and they're going to have it in a 2021 SEMA show. Now, it starts as a base Tacoma TRD Sport, so, it's a good truck to begin with. It looks like it's going to have a bed for two over the cab, like the old ones were, so it'll have a reasonable amount of space inside. And, of course, being a redesign, it's going to be better than the original Chinooks. They'll use different spatial ideas, so things aren't cramped, so there's more room inside. And with the current economic situation that it is, hey, people might be buying them as their homes and going around in them. People are saying, you paid as much for your car or your truck as I did for my house. Well, now your truck can be your house. Pretty interesting. 70s and 80s, they were real popular little campers. Maybe they'll start producing them. This is one-off for the SEMA show, but hey, I'm sure people would buy these things. You can go camping in it and use it as an everyday driver too if you want. You got to give it to this Kia dealership for imagination anyways. It's hard to get the new cars and sell them stuff. Well, there's a Kia dealership in Riverdale, New Jersey that has all kinds of exotic cars to make money now. You think of Kia, you think of a cheaper make car, right? Well, this guy decides, hey, he's going to go upscale because he can't get enough Kias to sell, so he's got all these exotic used cars. They have Lamborghinis, McLarens, Mercedes-Benz, high-end Mercedes-Benz, all on their lot. Now, the guy's got 150 cars on his lot, but only 33 of them are brand new Kias. The rest are used cars. He has a 2016 Lamborghini that's going from $475,999. I guess I thought that extra dollar was too much, right? He has is a 2021 Mercedes AMG on sale for $305,998. I guess they wanted to go $2 short on that one. And a 2009 McLaren for only $290,854. How they come up with these figures is beyond me. Couldn't they have rounded it off, you know? Hey, he didn't have enough Kias to sell, so he started to sell high-end used cars. It's New Jersey. I guess there's a lot of money in Jersey, right? There's some rich people there. They want to buy those things. Although, as we all know, you know, these high-end cars are snobbish. Would they want to be seen at a Kia dealership buying their Rolls Royce? Well, maybe they would send the servants to pick it up. Can't sell the Kias. Let's try this high-end stuff. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.